Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're pulling back the curtain on something pretty specific, but I think really insightful if you're thinking about online content. We're diving into a detailed analysis of one company's journey on TikTok. That company is Lux Ik Ok they focus on, like high-quality cleaning and health equipment.
Yeah, and when you say detailed, you really mean it. We've got this comprehensive report that properly digs into 54 of their TikTok posts, and it covers a good chunk of time from early 2023 right up to, well, mid 2024. It's kind of like getting X-ray vision into their whole content strategy.
Exactly. So our mission here in this deep dive is to pull out the key insights, the aha moments from this report. What can you listening in, maybe someone navigating your own content strategy or just curious about how social media works for these kinds of niches? What can you learn from Lux E's experience? Let's unpack it. Okay, let's kick off with who Lux East actually is based on the report. We know they sell things like wet vacuums, water purifiers, floor polishers, and the analysis points out they really lean into this Swiss quality angle and their long history, like over 120 years of tradition.
Right, and you really see that brand identity come through in their TikToks. It's all about showcasing these, advanced practical solutions for a clean and healthy home. They use hashtags pretty consistently that reinforce that, like hashtag Lux Ecuador, hashtag cleaning teams, hashtag vacuum cleaner. It sets a clear stage.
Okay, so that's the brand. But how often were they actually, showing up? The report tracked those 54 posts between Jan 23 and July 24.
Well, what the data showed was they averaged only about 3 to 4 posts per month.
Per month?
Per month, yeah. And this is where it gets interesting because the analysis contrasts that pretty sharply, actually, with typical TikTok best practices. Often you hear recommendations more like 3 to 5 posts per week to really build momentum.
Wow, okay. Big difference.
Huge difference. And the report noted significant inconsistency too. Like there were bursts of activity. I think it mentioned 5 posts in a single day in July 2024. But then that was mixed with these pretty long gaps, these silences.
Right.
And the analysis makes a direct link, suggesting this inconsistency could really be limiting their reach. You know how algorithms often favor regular content?
Yeah, you disappear, you lose traction.
Exactly. That seems to be the takeaway there.
So consistency is lesson 1. But okay, what about the actual content? What did the report find was really working for them? What got people engaging?
This was super clear in the analysis. Videos with hands-on demonstrations, those were the winners, by far. People really responded when they could see the product actually doing its thing. There was one standout example the report highlighted, the Aquafilter 2000 black vacuum.
Oh yeah, I remember reading about that one, cleaning furniture and carpets.
That's the one. The video explained how it absorbs 99.99% of dirt and mites, and then it just showed it happening, visually demonstrated it. And that approach, well, it paid off big time. We're talking 29,400 views, over 300 likes, 83 shares. It showed real, tangible results.
That's massive compared to their average engagement, right?
Oh, absolutely. It really shows the potential when they nail the format. Now, interestingly, the report contrasted that with other types of content. Like, they looked at a New Year's message video. It had much lower views, around 600 to 57, but still got decent likes, like 88.
Okay.
So it suggests that emotional content can connect, but maybe in this particular niche, it doesn't have the same kind of viral potential as seeing the product solve a problem right there on screen.
And the report also mentioned those recurring visual elements, focusing on how easy it is to use and showing the visible results, like that carpet shampooing breakdown.
Yes.
Vacuum, spread soap, scrub, start the motors. That's step-by-step, almost instructional style. It's definitely their signature.
Yeah. And while it clearly works for their core audience, people actively looking for cleaning solutions, the analysis did raise a good question. Does relying so heavily on just this one format maybe limit their reach? Could it put off a broader audience?
Interesting point.
The report kind of hinted it might, yeah. It noted that posts without that dynamic, results-focused approach often had a really low engagement, sometimes under 300 views. If you weren't showing the product doing something impressive, it just seemed to get lost.
Okay, so the demo is king for them. Now, let's flip that. What about the posts that didn't work? The ones that fell flat? Why did those fail?
Right. The analysis really dug into the root causes for the low performers. There were a few key examples. One was a giveaway video, something about an urban fest. The main issue there, the report said, was disconnected message. It had basically zero link back to Lux CZ's actual products.
Oh, okay. Not relevant.
Exactly. Plus, it used this kind of urgent tone that didn't really fit their usual educational vibe, and crucially, it was posted at a bad time, like 10 a.m. on a Saturday. Suboptimal schedule, they called it.
Got it. Timing and relevance, out of sync. What else?
Another one was just a video showing a vacuum cleaner with a really generic title, something like Meet Our Vacuum Cleaner. The analysis diagnosed that with a weak narrative. There was no hook, no specific benefits mentioned. It lacked emotion and the limited visual quality, just a basic presentation, didn't grab anyone, didn't tell a story.
So just showing the product, that wasn't enough on its own.
Apparently not for their audience, no. And a third example was a super general brand message, Luxiac, the solution for your home. Again, the report flagged it as a generic message, no specific product, no benefit, and the timing, terrible, posted at 2 a.m.
2 a.m., wow.
Yeah. Plus, it lacked strategic hashtags. Use something broad like hashtag cleaning instead of their more specific, successful ones like hashtag LuxEquator.
So looking at these failures, the clear lessons seem to be keep it relevant, tell a story with benefits, avoid being too generic, and definitely pay attention to when you post.
Precisely. It really hammers home that each post needs, a clear purpose, a compelling angle, and the right delivery window.
The report also touched on risk assessment, didn't it? What did they find there?
Yeah, and this was quite striking, actually. Their content is consistently rated as low risk. Across the board, the report looks specifically at things like profanity, controversial topics, drugs, violence, hate speech, negative mentions of other brands, adult content, all of it. Low safe in every single category. Their whole approach is very professional, very product-focused, very, safe.
So a very clean, brand-aligned image.
Totally. And that's a strength, right? Builds trust, makes them look good for potential partnerships, no worries about controversy.
Makes sense.
But the report did hint at an interesting flip side. This very safe approach, combined with the fact that they do zero influencer collaboration.
Which we'll get to.
Right. Could that safety, combined with no outside voices, actually be limiting their reach? Are they missing out on audiences that might respond to slightly, edgier or more trend-aware content creators?
That's a really interesting tension. Safety versus expansion potential. Yeah. And you mentioned collaborations. The report found none at all.
Zero. Flat zero.
Yeah.
Across all 54 posts they analyzed, not one direct collaboration with another creator or influencer.
Yeah.
No joint videos, no duets, no sponsored posts featuring someone else.
Wow. That feels like a big gap in a TikTok strategy these days.
It does. The analysis kind of frames it as reinforcing their focus on, in-house authenticity, showing the product themselves. And as we saw, that works for their core audience, the demo lovers. They are their own best salespeople in a way.
Right.
But the report clearly flags this as a major opportunity to explore strategic partnerships. Collaborations are just such a standard way to get your brand in front of new, relevant communities. It's a missed trick, potentially.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. What about performance over the whole period? Did the report show any clear trends month by month?
Oh yeah, it painted a really vivid picture of volatility, actually. It showed how much impact those content and timing choices had. So it started off moderately in January 2023, maybe around 2,500 views.
Oh, okay.
Then boom, a huge peak performance in June 2023. Views shot up to over 33,000.
33,000, wow.
Yeah, and the analysis directly links that spike to that really successful viral product demo video we talked about. It just shows the potential when everything clicks.
Definitely. But was it all uphill?
Not at all. After that peak, things dropped off. There was a steep decline noted in March 2024. Views crashed down to just over 1,000 for the month.
Ouch.
Yeah, and remember those underperforming posts, the generic ones with bad timing? That lines up perfectly. The analysis connects those missteps directly to that performance dip.
So the duds really dragged the average down. Did they pull out of it?
They started to. July 2024 showed a partial recovery. Views climbed back over 2,000. And the report suggests this was down to them making adjustments, getting back to more educational content, maybe being smarter about posting times.
Okay.
So they haven't hit that 33K peak again, not yet anyway, but they showed signs of bouncing back by, correcting course based on what works.
That timeline really drives home how sensitive performance is to getting the content and strategy right.
Absolutely. Which leads us nicely into maybe the most actionable bit of the whole analysis. Optimizing the posting schedule, the data here was really specific.
It showed clear winning and losing times.
Definitely. The analysis stated pretty clearly that posting times significantly impact performance. No surprise there, maybe, but the data backed it up. It highlighted weekday evenings, specifically between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. as the absolute sweet spot.
3 to 7 p.m. weekdays.
Yep. And Wednesdays within that window seemed particularly strong, averaging around 2,000 views per post. And remember that big viral video from June 23?
Let me guess. Posted around then.
Bang on 5 p.m., right in the middle of that prime window.
Okay, so the success stories prove the timing theory. What about the bad times?
The report was just as clear on those. Early mornings, think midnight to 6 a.m., consistently performed poorly, as did weekend mornings, roughly 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And those underperforming generic posts we discussed often dropped right into those low-activity slots.
Makes sense. Did the report point out any times they weren't posting but maybe should?
Yes, it did. It noted a notable gap on weekend nights, specifically 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturdays and Sundays. That's often a high activity time for lots of TikTok users, right? Scrolling before bed or whatever. And it's a window Luxabic just hasn't really tested.
Interesting. So the data gives them a really clear roadmap for scheduling. Double down on weekday evenings, avoid those early morning and weekend morning slots like the plague, and maybe test out weekend evenings.
Exactly. It makes the next steps very concrete, very data-driven.
Okay, timing is crucial. But beyond when they post, the analysis also suggested they should diversify what they post, right? Even though the demos work well.
Yeah, that's the tricky balance, isn't it? Those demos are their bread and butter, 70% of their posts, high engagement. You don't want to ditch what works. But the report argued that relying only on them might be capping their growth potential.
So what did it suggest they try instead? Or in addition?
It pointed out a few missed opportunities. Things like more lifestyle stories showing how the products actually improve daily life, focusing on the feeling of a clean, healthy home, not just the machine.
Right, showing the benefit, not just the feature in action.
Exactly. It also suggested leaning more into humor or current TikTok trends. They had that one video, the I don't need it, I need it one, which was a bit funny. They could maybe do more of that. Or weave in viral transitions, popular sounds, filters, that kind of thing. Make it feel a bit more native to the platform.
Bringing some of that TikTok energy into their demos, maybe?
Could be. The report also suggested using more targeted hashtags related to bigger trends, like hashtag eco-friendly or hashtag healthy home, linking their product benefits to those wider concerns. And finally, it spotted an opportunity for more B2B content, maybe targeting small businesses, showing how the equipment could work in, say, a small cafe or office, not just a home.
Did it give any guidance on how often to try these new things?
It did, yeah. It suggested experimenting, maybe try 1 or 2 lifestyle videos a month, play around with a trend weekly, consistently use those health and eco hashtags, test out a business-focused post monthly. It's about finding that mix, keep the core demo content strong, but layer in these other angles strategically to see what else resonates and maybe reaches new people.
Okay, wow. We've really gone deep into this analysis of LuxEkic's TikTok performance. A lot to unpack there.
Definitely. We've seen the clear power of that focused, educational, hands-on content for them, showing results works. But we've also seen how critical consistency and timing are, and where those big opportunities lie, diversifying the content, maybe finally dipping their toes into collaborations.
It feels like a really great case study, doesn't it? For understanding a niche audience on a platform like TikTok, but also seeing where those growth edges might be.
Yeah, it really brings up a key question, I think. How do you stay true to your brand, focus on what you know works for your core people, while also finding ways to experiment, adapt, and maybe capture new audiences or leverage what the platform itself is doing? It's a tough balance.
It really is. And that's something for you, our listener, to think about. What does LuxEkic's journey, their successes and their struggles tell you about your own content strategy, whether that's for a business or just building your own online presence? Right, that's it for this deep dive. We really hope you found those insights valuable.